breaking down the headlines with speed and precision. Welcome to Neural Newscast, where AI meets responsible reporting.
From our digital news hub, this is Andrew Lindbeck. It's August 24th, 2025. On this day in 1814, British forces set fire to Washington, D.C., burning public buildings including the White House and the Capitol during the War of 1812. A dramatic strike that shocked the young United States. Now let's cover the latest political moves. Labor plans a major sentencing overhaul to abolish most short prison terms. Legislation due in September. Here's Cassandra Joyce with more.
Labor plans to abolish most short prison sentences in England and Wales, with legislation set for September. Ministers say they will toughen community penalties and create an earned release system modeled on Texas to reduce reoffending and ease overcrowding. Supporters argue short terms, often under 12 months, fail to rehabilitate and clog prisons. Critics warn ending them could weaken deterrence and burden probation. The government calls it the biggest sentencing overhaul in 30 years. Opponents say effectiveness depends on funding, supervision capacity, and transparent results. This is Cassandra Joyce for Neural Newscast.
Global stories shaping our world. Moscow says Ukraine struck power and energy sites amid Independence Day tensions, raising winter disruption fears. Here's Monica Kellen with more.
Russia accuses Ukraine of striking several power and energy sites overnight as Ukraine marks Independence Day. Moscow says the targets include facilities tied to critical infrastructure, and it reports damage but no mass outages. Kyiv does not comment on the allegation. The claim comes amid escalating cross-border drone and missile strikes between the two countries. Ukraine's Independence Day falls on August 24th, a symbolic date during the 30-month war. Attacks on energy assets raise fears of winter disruption and civilian risk. Both sides continue long-range strikes far from front lines.
A top Pentagon intelligence official was fired after controversy over an assessment about strikes on Iran. Here's Daniel Grove with more.
The Pentagon fires the head of a key U.S. defense intelligence agency after controversy over an Iran assessment. The move follows a White House rebuke of a leaked report evaluating the impact of recent U.S. strikes on Iran. Officials say the firing aims to restore confidence in intelligence processes and oversight. The review questioned whether strikes deter Tehran's activity or risk escalation. The dismissal underscores tension between policy goals and analytic independence. A senior defense official says leadership changes protect integrity and accountability. Further personnel and policy reviews are underway in Washington this week.
Israeli forces killed at least 4 Palestinians near aid distribution points in northern Gaza, according to health officials and witnesses, who report gunfire around queues for flour and water. The incidents come as Israel signals a new offensive into Gaza City, the enclave's largest urban center. The military says it targets Hamas fighters embedded among civilians. Aid groups warn shortages are worsening as fuel, food, and water run short. Shifting to the Russia-Ukraine front. A Ukrainian drone reportedly struck a Russian nuclear plant area, igniting a major fire and halting operations at a fuel terminal. Here's Sarah Wheaton with more.
A Ukrainian long-range drone strikes Russia's Leningrad nuclear power plant area and ignites a massive fire at Novatek's Ust-Luga fuel export terminal near St. Petersburg. The blaze forces operations to halt and prompts evacuations. Local officials report no radiation risk at the plant. The attack hits key energy infrastructure used for petroleum products and liquefied petroleum gas exports. Russia's gasoline prices jumped to record highs after a string of refinery and terminal strikes in recent weeks. Kyiv steps up deep strikes to strain Russia's fuel supply and logistics.
China orders evacuations on Hainan Island as Typhoon Kajiki approaches, suspending transport and closing resorts. Here's Laura Navarro with more.
China orders evacuations on Hainan Island as Typhoon Kajiki nears. Officials halt all public transportation and suspend flights and ferries. Sanya, the island's top resort city, shuts businesses and clears beaches. Emergency crews move residents from low-lying areas and warn of flooding and landslides. Schools close and tourist sites locked down to keep visitors safe. Forecasters expect heavy rain and strong winds through the coast today and tomorrow. Authorities urge people to stay indoors and avoid all unnecessary travel.
A bridge under construction collapsed into the Yellow River, killing a dozen workers and prompting rescue efforts. Here's Samuel Green with more.
12 workers die after a railway bridge under construction collapses into the Yellow River early Friday. The section plunges in China's northwest, halting work and triggering a major rescue and investigation. Local authorities report multiple injuries and search teams comb the river for missing people. The bridge is part of a regional rail link meant to speed freight and passenger travel. Officials order safety checks on nearby sites and promise accountability. One emergency official calls the scene devastating as crews battle swift currents and debris. This is Samuel Green for Neural Newscast.
Market movements and financial headlines. Fed officials sought to keep economic focus at Jackson Hole amid political pressure and efforts to influence Fed policy. Here's Ethan Wells with more.
Federal Reserve officials pushed to keep the focus on inflation and growth at Jackson Hole. Their annual conference turns tense as the administration moves to oust a Fed governor to pressure for lower rates. The clash overshadows policy debates on a softening labor market and sticky services inflation. Chair Jerome Powell stresses data dependence and vigilance on price stability. Markets watch for hints on timing of future cuts and balance sheet plans. The episode underscores the Fed's political independence and its credibility at stake. This is Ethan Wells for Neural Newscast.
This is NNC, Neural Newscast. We're here every day with reliable, fast-paced reporting that combines the speed of AI with the judgment of real people. Find our full archive at neuralnewscast.com.
Now, let's cover technology headlines. China is experimenting with submerged data centers to cool AI servers and cut energy costs dramatically. Here's Kara Swift with more.
China sinks full data centers into the ocean to keep AI servers cool and fast. Submerged modules sit on the seafloor, where cold seawater pulls off heat without giant chillers. Engineers pump filtered seawater through sealed racks, then return it clean. The approach cuts energy use and land costs and boosts reliability. Cooling can be 30 to 50% of a data center's power. Shaving that bill reshapes AI economics. One official calls it a cooler, quieter grid for machine intelligence.
Google reveals the Pixel 10 Pro Fold as the first folding phone with an IP68 rating, improving durability. Here's Benjamin Carter with more.
Google unveils the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, the first folding phone with an IP68 rating. That means full dust sealing and freshwater submersion protection, not just splash resistance. It's a leap from last year's IPX8 Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which lacked dust defense. Why it matters. Dust is the enemy of hinges, screens, and tiny internal parts. IP68 makes a foldable more durable for daily pocket use, beach trips, and construction sites. In short, fewer worries, more folding. This is Benjamin Carter for Neural Newscast.
Now, science headlines and discoveries. Researchers developed a cryo-optical microscope that freezes cells mid-action, revealing rapid biological processes. Here's Nathaniel Cohen with more.
Scientists unveil a cryo-optical microscope that freezes living cells mid-action, revealing fast biology and sharp detail. The technique rapidly immobilizes cells at precise moments, then images them without blur. Researchers capture fleeting events like calcium ion waves in heart muscle cells, which unfold in milliseconds. The approach overcomes limits of standard live cell imaging, where motion smears data. It links exact timing with ultrastructure, letting teams map cause and effect inside cells. One researcher calls it a freeze frame for life's fastest signals.
New research suggests Jupiter's core formed gradually, yielding a fuzzy interior that reshapes planet formation models. Here's Daniel Fletcher with more.
Jupiter's core likely forms gradually, not from a single giant impact. New research finds the planet's fuzzy interior develops as Jupiter gathers both heavy and light elements during formation. That process mixes metals and hydrogen deep inside, creating a diffuse core that extends across a large fraction of the planet. The idea challenges decades of collision theories and reshapes models of gas giants. It also helps explain exoplanets with similar profiles. One scientist calls it evolution, not catastrophe, pointing to a calmer planetary childhood. This is Daniel Fletcher for Neural Newscast.
Now, let's explore environmental stories. Pakistan's solar growth has had an unexpected side effect: higher power bills for low-income households. Here's Stephen Summers with more.
Pakistan's solar boom pushes up power bills for low-income households. As wealthier homes install rooftop panels, grid demand falls during the day. Utilities recover fixed costs by raising tariffs on remaining customers, many of them poor. Officials warn the shift is too fast without reforms to net metering and subsidies. Regulators now study time of use rates and targeted aid to prevent blackouts and bill shocks. This is Stephen Summers for Neural Newscast.
From the World Desk, here's what's new. Authorities widen inspections and detain site managers after the Yellow River Railway bridge collapse that killed 12 workers. Our correspondent at the scene is Thomas Golding. Reporting from the Yellow River, this is Thomas Golding for Neural Newscast. Innovation and tech trends are next. Spotify's Panama Playlists episode highlights how public playlists can reveal private listening habits and metadata risks. Here's Amelia Richardson with more.
Spotify Panama Playlists reveal how public playlists can expose private listening habits. Investigators link anonymous playlists to famous users and even to journalists through metadata and follows. The incident shows how usernames, profile photos, and shared playlists create a trail. It's not a breach, but a reminder. Privacy settings matter. Users can switch to private sessions, hide activity, and rethink what they share on a global platform. This is Amelia Richardson for Neural Newscast.
Here's today's entertainment news. Jerry Adler, a Broadway veteran and actor known for Hesh on The Sopranos, has died at 96. Here's Lydia Holmes with more.
Jerry Adler, the veteran Broadway producer turned actor best, known as Hesh on The Sopranos, dies at 96. The New York native spends decades behind the scenes, working on Fiddler on the Roof and My Fair Lady, before stealing scenes on TV. He later appears in The Good Wife and Rescue Me. Fans remember his sharp wit and steady presence. One co-star once called him a prose pro. This is Lydia Holmes for Neural Newscast.
Bringing you the next story in our lineup. New research finds managers often overload their most loyal employees, fueling burnout and turnover risks. Here's Grace Sullivan with more on workplace culture. Stories from the world of arts and culture.
Managers often overburden their most loyal employees. New research shows. High performers get extra tasks because they rarely say no and fix problems fast. That cycle breeds burnout, resentment, and turnover. Experts urge clear boundaries, written workload limits, and fair task rotation. Employees can track hours and outcomes, then ask for rebalancing. Reliability shouldn't equal endless work, says author David Robson, who advises setting deadlines and escalating chronic overload early. This is Grace Sullivan for Neural Newscast.
Continuing with more top stories. That wraps our headlines for this hour. For full stories, visit neuralnewscast.com and follow NNC Daily.
You have been listening to NNC. Visit nnewscast.com for more episodes and deep dives. Neural Newscast integrates real and AI-generated voices to facilitate efficient, high-quality news production. Developed by human experts, our AI-generated content undergoes rigorous fact-checking and human review before publication. While we strive for accuracy and neutrality, AI-generated content may occasionally contain errors. We encourage listeners to verify crucial details from reliable sources. For more on our AI transparency practices, visit newscast.com.